Bow, East London, 1889. A mother leans close, blows out the candle, and freezes. Her daughter's jaw is glowing. Not a trick of light. A sickly green-white glow, bone visible through rotted flesh. Doctors had a name for it: Phossy jaw. Across the East End, hundreds of match factory girls carried the same secret under their skin, and it would take a strike to expose why. Bryant and May's match factory dominated Bow. By the 1880s, it employed roughly 1,400 women and girls, some just 13 years old. They dipped matchsticks into vats of white phosphorus, a chemical so volatile it glowed faintly even in the dark. Wages ran 4 to 8 shillings a week. Rent alone could eat half that. For East End families, this was steady work. Nobody warned them the phosphorus was eating them alive. The shifts ran 14 hours. Girls ate lunch right at their workbenches, because breaks cost money and management docked wages for lateness, talking, even dirty feet. Phosphorus dust settled on the bread they ate. It got into cuts, into loose teeth, into the air they breathed all day. Supervisors called it a good post. The girls called it something else. Within months, some started complaining of toothaches that wouldn't go away. Here's what was actually happening. Phosphorus vapor seeped in through rotten teeth and gum tissue, then attacked the jawbone directly. The bone died from the inside. Doctors called it necrosis. Abscesses formed, the jaw swelled and oozed, and in advanced cases the exposed bone glowed faintly green in a dark room. If this story is landing, tap that like button, it helps. For many girls, removing the jaw was the only way to survive. By 1888, a journalist named Annie Besant had heard enough rumors. She interviewed Bryant and May workers directly and published the results in her paper, The Link, under a blistering headline: White Slavery in London. She detailed the finds, the phosphorus dust on their food, the girls with missing jaws still clocking in for shifts. Bryant and May's directors were furious. They demanded workers sign statements denying the article. Most refused. Then Bryant and May made its mistake. Management fired a worker they suspected of talking to Besant. On July 5, 1888, roughly 1,400 women and girls walked out in response. One of the largest strikes led entirely by women in British history up to that point. They marched through London, collected donations, and gave interviews to reporters who'd never before listened to a factory girl's voice. Newspapers ran the story nationwide. Public sympathy turned hard against Bryant and May's directors. Within 3 weeks, the company folded on several demands, but not the one that mattered most. What happened to the phosphorus itself, and how long these girls would keep glowing in the dark, is a fight that dragged on for 2 more decades. First, though, here's what the strike actually won and lost. The company reinstated the fired workers and scrapped the punishing fine system. Grateful crowds cheered outside the factory gates. Weeks later, the women founded the Union of Matchmakers, one of the first unions led and run by working women in Britain. It was a real victory. But look closely at the settlement. Nowhere did it mention removing white phosphorus from the factory floor. The poison stayed exactly where it was. In 1891, William Booth's Salvation Army opened a rival match factory nearby, using safer red phosphorus instead, deliberately, publicly, to embarrass Bryant and May. Newspapers printed the comparison side by side. One factory poisoning its workers, one that wasn't. Bryant and May held out anyway, still using white phosphorus for another 8 years while blaming poor dental hygiene for the cases piling up in London hospitals. Change finally came from Geneva. In 1906, an international treaty, the Berne Convention, banned white phosphorus in match manufacturing across signing nations. Britain's own ban followed in 1908, taking full effect in 1910, more than 20 years after Besant's article first ran. By then, an unknown number of women had lost their jaws, their teeth, sometimes their lives. Nobody kept an exact death count. Nobody thought their bodies were worth counting. Phossy jaw didn't end because factory owners had a change of heart. It ended because journalists asked questions, workers organized, and public shame cost more than cheap matches were worth. We dig up the history they buried. Subscribe so the next dossier finds you. Tell us in the comments which buried story we should open next. The Radium Girls? Something local to you?